Guys, I've just got done streaming the new Warlock update for early access patch number 1. I've been live for 14.5 hours, so if I mess up any of my words, I'm sorry. I need to get to bed. But before I go to bed, I want to put out a video breaking down my thoughts on the Warlock update for anyone who wants to see this in video form, day 1 thoughts, all that good stuff. Let's get into it. The Warlock update's pretty fun, and there's 2 new perks out there for you. So one of them is the Vampirism, which increases your magical healing by 20%. This perk does work when you have 0 magical healing in your build. So if you don't have any magical healing attributes in your build, that's fine. Vampirism will increase your magical healing by 20% regardless of that. It's really good, best in slot probably perk for any caster locks out there. As far as the magical healing is concerned, the only 2 spells that will give you healing back are Power of Sacrifice and Curse of Pain. So you can no longer Hellfire the cave troll, for example, to get all that healing back like you used to be able to. You're only going to get healing from Power of Sacrifice and Curse of Pain. So what you should do is you should Power of Sacrifice, then Curse of Pain a target. That's going to give you the most healing back possible. And then with Vampirism, that's increased by 20%. And then with any magical healing on top of that, that's increased even more so. For Cave Troll, the order to kill the Cave Troll would be Power of Sacrifice, Curse of Pain, and then do 2 Hellfires. And then do Power of Sacrifice, Curse of Pain, and then do 2 Hellfires. And then once you've thrown like about 10 Hellfires, do a Power of Sacrifice and Curse of Pain, heal yourself back up pretty close, and then fire your final Hellfire or 2. And that way you'll be really close to full health once you finish the Cave Troll. You can still do Cave Troll at level 1 with just Force Mastery. Just got to take it a little bit slower. So Power of Sacrifice, Curse of Pain, 2 health. The other new perk that came is Curse Mastery, which in theory is a really good perk. It increases the duration of all curses by 30%. So for a Curse of Pain, that's going to be 2.4 seconds. For a Power of Sacrifice, it's going to be about 3 seconds. The problem with this perk is that it's very bugged right now and it does not work properly. So if you use this perk, your Curse of Pains are no longer going to do the initial burst damage. They're only going to do the dot damage. And if you Power of Sacrifice, your Power of Sacrifices are not going to do the dot damage. They're only going to give the 15 strength to the caster target. So yeah, don't use Curse Mastery. It's going to probably end up not working in your favor. As far as Dark Enchantment is concerned and Soul Collector is concerned, we now have Dark Magic spells in the game. So both these perks are working properly. Let's go over the perks that are in the game now. We've got plenty of spells, sorry, I should be saying in the game. The Dark Magic spells, a Bolt of Darkness, which fires a bolt that inflicts 15 magic damage to the target. This does have headshot multiplier. It works pretty much like an ice bolt for the wizard. It's one of the best spells you can be running right now as a warlock. It's probably your most utilized damage spell for curse lock. You also have Ray of Darkness, which projects a dark beam dealing 3 magical damage per second to any target it touches. You can aim and move whilst channeling this beam. Keep in mind, when you are channeling the beam, you move slower than normal. So do not try to use this for killing the cave troll. I did it. It's not very good. And also, you're probably going to kill yourself doing so. Bolt of Darkness currently seems like the better of the 2 options, but we really don't understand the magic attribute bonus scaling for any of these spells. So maybe once you have lots of magic damage and will in your build, Ray of Darkness is actually better. Don't know. We haven't quite got there yet. Once we know, I'll let you know. There's also a 3rd dark spell called Eldritch Shield, which grants the target a shield that protects against 40 magic damage for 15 seconds. When the shield is then completed, it's absorbed all its damage. It will then convert that damage into an increase on the next dark spell that you cast. You'll get 40% magic damage bonus on the next dark spell for 4 seconds. This actually has a really interesting effect. So you can actually put Eldritch Shield on, you can cast it on yourself, and then any damage you would take from casting spells for the next 15 seconds actually is absorbed by the shield. So you can cast any of these spells that you want. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to be absorbed by the shield. And it might be something to do in fights if you want to take less damage in a fight. There's also this new ability called Bloodstained Blade, which puts you in a bloodlust for 20 seconds. And what it does is increases your weapon power by 5. And every time you swing your weapon, you actually lose 3 health. So this also works with Eldritch Shield. You can cast Eldritch Shield and then cast Bloodstained Blade. It's not going to cost the 5 health that it's normally meant to. And then every swing, which is meant to reduce your health by 3, actually is absorbed by the Eldritch Shield as well. There's a new, I believe it's like a tracking spell called Evil Eye, which basically summons an evil eye that you can then control. I do not know if this does any damage to anyone. I personally have not tested it. I know 14 hours of streaming, I didn't test it once. What am I doing? I assume it doesn't do any damage based on the fact that the perk description doesn't say any damage. There's a new healing spell called Life Drain. You have to stand still whilst using this. It concentrates your mind to drain 3 of the target's life force per second for 6 seconds and converts 100% that into your life force. So that means that you are getting 18 health when you use this, amplified by any magical healing you have. I mean, I don't think it's worth a spell slot personally. There is a new spell which is really good called Flamewalker. For 6 seconds, each step that you take leaves a trail of hellfire on the floor that lasts for 4 seconds. Anyone who stands on this hellfire will burn at a rate of 5 damage per 0.2 seconds. So if they stand in it for a full second, that is going to be 25 health right there. Pretty fun perk. You can utilize this with Phantomise. It does not burn you. So you will cast Flamewalker, you will then Phantomise, run onto your target, leave the hellfire where they're standing, and then run away again. And it's quite fun. I'll put a video up of me Flamewalking some people. Nice trap you have there, brother. And then the final new spell is Summon Hydra. What this does is creates a portal on the ground, which 3 Hydra heads pop out of. And the Hydra heads alternate firing fireballs at pretty much the closest target to them. Hydras do have a hitbox. They do aggro any monsters around them. And they do block things as well. You can also Curse of Pain them or Power of Sacrifice them to heal off them as well, which is probably an unintended feature. What does that mean? We've got all these new spells. What would my ideal spell loadout be? Well, I'd probably bring Hellfire, since I like to go kill Cave Troll. If you are planning on killing Cave Troll or killing the Lich or Ghost King, then you need Hellfire, and so that is a guaranteed slot. I'll then bring Curse of Pain and Power of Sacrifice so that I can heal myself on will, since Power of Sacrifice and Curse of Pain can double up to heal you faster, especially with Vampirism. And then I'd probably bring Bolt of Darkness and Flamewalker. And you'll notice that this is actually only just being captured by my spell capacity. That's because I have gear on. So if I have 0 gear on, you actually see that you have 9 spell capacity. So you actually cannot bring Flamewalker. This has now been implemented for Warlock. You actually do have to spend your spells. The way you can increase your spell memory is by getting add spell memory gear or equipping more knowledge. And knowledge is a stat you should be equipping on Warlock anyway, because your spellcasting speed is minus 23 by default, and knowledge increases your spellcasting speed as well. Now, if I wasn't killing bosses, what would I equip instead of Hellfire? I'd probably equip either Eldritch Shield, and I would build potentially Bloodstained Blade around that. Or I would equip Summon Hydra, and I would try and use the Hydra in a trios or duos to block doors when I'm retreating, or just be a pest in the middle of team fights. It's not good in solos, for what it's worth. Do not run Summon Hydra in solos. Another quick tip before we get to the end of this video: Curse of Pain's hitbox has now been massively increased. It's now the same size, roughly, as Power of Sacrifice. Just a little tip on Curse of Pain and Power of Sacrifice. They are hitscan spells. They've always been hitscan spells. They've never not been hitscan spells. The reason why everyone thinks Curse of Pain is a projectile spell is because its hitbox was a hairpin. And also because Warlock spells, they're cast, when the cast ends, is when the spell leaves. And so for a lot of people, when they finish casting and they let go, that's when they think the cast is meant to happen. For Warlock, that's not how it works. It happens at the very end of the animation. And so what people have been doing is they've been leading their shots, hoping that, by the time the cast animation is ending, the crosshair is on a target. And they've kind of getting lucky, honestly, hitting Curse of Pains. So hopefully for any new Warlocks out there, you will treat this like a Hitscan spell. As it is, track the target until the very end of your casting animation. You're going to have a great time casting any of these spells on. Bolt of Darkness is a projectile spell for what it's worth. It's like Wizard's Ice Bolt. This is my current loadout. I make sure that Flame Walker is the last equipped spell, so if I ever drop under a certain amount of knowledge, then I can run this. And I actually have been running Phantomise so that I can run Flame Walker, but if you're not planning on bringing Flame Walker, then I think Blow of Corruption is still the key skill in your Warlock kit. I would only bring Phantomise if you are attempting to Flame Walker people, because I think Blow of Corruption is a stronger spell in general. That's pretty much all of the stuff that's been changed with the Warlock. As far as my thoughts on the Warlock, Warlock is in a really interesting place right now that you can only magic heal using Curse of Pain and Power of Sacrifice. That includes stuff like Crystal Sword, for example. Crystal Sword deals magical damage. It will not work. The only two things that are giving healing are Curse of Pain and Power of Sacrifice, and the damage from Power of Sacrifice and Curse of Pain. But despite this, I think that what you can do is you can run a Curse of Pain at a target. You can then just fire bolts of darkness at them. It has a really good range. It actually counts as ranges. If you're in the right area, you can actually fight a ranger with Bolt of Darkness, like as if you had a bow. So it's really powerful. It's just a projectile, so it has slow movement speed that you have to pre-aim and get good with. But yeah, a Curse of Pain into multiple Bolts of Darkness is a very powerful way to kill someone. Or you can go for the Curse of Pain into a Flame Walker, into Phantomise, and just burn someone alive, and then you just poke them with Curse of Pain afterwards until they die. That's been very fun for me, and I've really enjoyed that playstyle as well. But I do think that the Eldritch Shield into Bloodstained Blade or just any other spells is a pretty interesting style to work on as well. As far as the Dark Magic, Dark Enchantment, and Soul Collector perks are concerned, I personally haven't found a use for them yet, only because I don't like the idea of them only affecting one of my spells, which is going to be my Bolt of Darkness. Even though I have just said that my Bolt of Darkness is going to be my main damage spell, I don't know, maybe that's just a really dumb thing for me to think that way. And instead I've been bringing Malice, so my build has been Vampirism, Dark Reflection, and Malice. I still think highly rate Dark Reflection as a protection spell, as a bit of defense in your kit. If you get hit, it's 10 damage immediately onto the target. And then I've been bringing Malice just to increase my will. But, you know, there's an argument to be made that Dark Enchantment is probably better, or even Soul Collector might even be better as well. Maybe test it out for yourself. Hopefully that answers some questions about the Warlock. As far as gear is concerned, your priorities are knowledge first, to increase your spell capacity and your casting speed, then magical healing. You only need about two to three magical healing. Feels pretty good right now with Vampirism. So go try and find 2 or 3 magical healing. The merchants now sell magical healing in bucket loads. Look, there it is, magical healing right there on the occultist tunic. I'm gonna buy that right now. I need my magical healing, bro. I mean, I love this new change. This is probably my favorite change about the new update, is that the shops now and also occultist boots. Occultist boots are broken, okay? Not broken in the sense that they're bugged, broken in the sense that they give 14 movement speed for even a gray one. Look at this. 15 armor, 14 movement speed, 1 knowledge. Buy these. They're so good. Even if they don't have secondary stats, so good. The reason that I think Iron Mace have made the occultist boot have such a high movement speed is because they have taken away all of the magical damage on cloves. So you can no longer stack magic damage on your cloves. And so I think that will in turn make Wizard and Warlock weaker overall. So they're giving us more movement speed to make up for it, which honestly I'm happy with. I like that. So stack your knowledge, stack your magical healing, stack your movement speed, and then get some strength into you. You're going to have a great time on Curse of Warlock. If you have any questions, drop by the live stream. I'll be live multiple times throughout the week, Monday to Friday, European to, I guess, like early American time. Yeah, more videos to come. All right, this has been a rant, and I need to go to sleep. Good night. Have a great one. Bye.